UFC Fight Night, Macy Barber versus Aaron Blanchfield is this weekend, and I am so excited to bring you my predictions for this fight card. But in all fairness, we finally have a fight card again. We're back off of 2 weeks break, or off of a week's break. I'm sorry. Um, it's been 2 weeks since any fights have happened. And yeah, I'm here to break down the card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event. Anyways, we will move on, or start with the beginning of the fights. We will go with Rand Dos Santos versus Alice Ardeline. We'll just get right into this. Okay. So, I know nothing about Rand Dos Santos. I know she's lost her last 2 fights. She hasn't even won a fight in the UFC. And then Alice Ardeline hasn't won a fight in the UFC either. I know that she gets a little more attractive the more she gets beaten up. But that's like kind of all I know about her. I'm going to pick... yeah, clearly we had Dos Santos, the coin flip. Decision is what we'll go with. Markel Medeiros versus Balaji. This fight isn't on the card anymore when I'm making this pick. It's going to be a newcomer to the UFC, if I'm not mistaken. I will be picking Balaji for the fight that is currently on the card, not this fight. I was going to pick Markel Medeiros, but I'll be picking Balaji to win the fight that he will have when this card comes up, or when it's updated on Tapology. They just haven't updated it as of yet, but Markel Medeiros is no longer on the card, so I'm gonna minimize that and I guess just know that I'm picking Balaji to win by knockout. Moving on to what should have been a welterweight fight. We've got Trevin Giles versus Andreas Gustafsson. Trevin Giles is just on a horrible losing streak at this point, and they called him on short notice for this fight, and he's got a full-time job doing something else. I'm not going to be picking Trevin Giles to win this fight, but I do think Trevin Giles is decent on the feet. He just doesn't do enough, and I think Andreas Gustafsson is going to start noticing that by round 2 and then walk through him and knock him out. Moving on to Jordan Levitt versus Kurt Holobaugh. This is a tough fight to actually call. Holobaugh's a tougher man than people can give him credit for. I picked against him in the Alex Hernandez fight, and he may have won that fight in my eyes. But, not on the scorecards. I think Jordan Levitt is a little bit better of a fighter than Alex Hernandez, though. And I think if Hernandez can get it done, I think Levitt's going to be able to get it done as well. I could see a finish happening, but I'm just not really too sure that Jordan Levitt would be too capable of doing so. He has taken a good chunk of time off here, but he's significantly younger than Holobaugh. I think he is the better fighter of the two. I'm going to be picking Jordan Levitt by decision. I just think that Holobaugh is just a little too old at this point. Moving on to Alan Nascimento versus Jafel Fijo. I'm going to be honest, I don't know shit about either of these two guys. It looks like Fijo's a finisher, from what I can tell. Lost to Makhmudov. I mean, neither one of them have really great guys on their resume to have won to. But him losing to Halion Paiva is big, I guess. I'm going to pick Rafael Fejo and just pick that he's going to get a sub. I know that this guy's a grappler, if I'm not mistaken. I really don't know, honestly. But we'll be picking Phil Ho by submission. And we'll just move on with that. Move on to the middleweight division where we've got Zachary Reese versus Dusko Todorovic. Tapology is really favoring Zach Reese here. And I think that that's, kind of foolhardy. He is a very killer be killed kind of guy. With Zach Reese, he's going to make bad decisions. Like, if he has a power puncher on top of him in guard, he's going to let them stay on top, and he's going to chase submissions and stay on his back while he's getting punched in the face and then get knocked out. But he does have a very good, finish rate. He finishes people, he sits there and he has really good technique as well. I don't know. He's just a natural finisher. If he doesn't knock out Dusko Todorovic, there's a massive problem. But I'm going to be picking Reese by round 1 KO. I just think that he is too technical and too explosive early on, especially. He has some genuine finishing power in those first 2 rounds. And his submission threat is serious. He's been slammed, knocked out by Brundage while trying to submit him. And then he's been punched in the face while trying to submit Bakoyev. And it just... those don't look great now. But to be fair, the Brundage loss is a bad loss to have. The Bakoyev one's not the worst. I think Bakoyev is a lot better than people think he is. Anyways, we've got Zach Reese by round 1 KO. Moving on to Caitlin Vieira versus Macy Chasson. What a wonderful fight we've got here. And it looks like Macy Chasson ends up getting a win. I'm going to say by decision here. Because, I mean, she is a warrior, though. She gets out there and finishes or gets finished. Anyways, we're just gonna move on to the... oh my God, that's on the main card. We're gonna move on to the feature fight of the evening. I think it is. It's Dustin Jacoby versus Bruno Lopez. I think that Dustin Jacoby handily wins this fight. I think Bruno Lopez is a solid fighter. He's just not ready for this level of the UFC just quite yet. Jacoby's a much better striker than Lopez. It's just not something you're really going to worry about with him. His footwork's too good. I don't worry about Lopez really even touching Jacoby, to be fair. Especially seeing as how he got past the Vitor Petrino test. Yeah, I've got Jacoby by round 2 knockout. I think this is going to be a pretty easy fight for Jacoby. It's going to look good on his resume too. To get one of these guys who's not quite undefeated, but he's 14-1. Yeah, 14-1. So it's going to look good. We move to the welterweight division. We've got Ramiz Brahimaj versus Billy Ray Goff. I am going to be picking Billy Ray Goff. I think that out of the 2 fighters, his aggression is really what's going to pay off for him. I'm honestly not too familiar with Brahimaj. I mean, Mickey Gall is his latest win. Lost to Themba Garimbo before that, and lost to Court McGee. Yeah, I think picking Billy Ray Golf here is going to be the smart decision. I'm really not too sure where Brahimaj can get it done. Maybe a random KO. But I want to pick Billy Ray Golf to overwhelm him by the second round. I think it's going to be pretty evident that his volume's going to just wear out Brahimaj. And because he looked really good in the Trey Waters fight, and I think you could have given him the Trey Waters fight, but or maybe it should have been a draw. I'm honestly not too entirely sure at this point. My wonderful, lovely big animal has decided to join for this fight. Billy Ray Golf fan, clearly. She is too much though. Yeah. Anyways, we've got Billy Ray Goff by round 2 knockout. I think that his pressure is just going to completely overwhelm Brahimaj and take him out. We're going to move to the lightweight division. We've got Matthias Gamrot versus Ludovic Klein. I struggled with picking this fight. I seriously think Ludovic Klein has a really good chance in this fight, and not quite enough people are picking him. But I don't want to be one of the people who pick against Matthias Gamrot, and I think that's the biggest thing, is picking against Gamrot's pretty hard right now. I know he did just lose his most recent fight against Dan Hooker. There are ways where you could give that fight to Matthias Gamrot, but he's just on such a good tear. I don't know. It's a fight I could see him losing though. Ludovic Klein, shorter with a longer reach. That's always a problem for these guys. But Gamrot's not really a striker. He doesn't really play that game all that frequently, and that's Klein's game. So we're gonna see if he can be the anti-grappler he needs to be to win this fight, and I just don't know if he's gonna be able to keep up with the pace that Gamrot's got. Like, there's just some key losses, or not losses, maybe even performances in his career that Klein had that make you question. Yeah, I think Gamrot gets it done. I do think it ends up being by decision, and but I think Ludovic Klein's gonna look impressive in this fight, initially at least. Moving on to the main event. Aaron Blanchfield versus Macy Barber. We're going to see what the coin thinks. That's interesting. Because the coin said Aaron Blanchfield. I guess shorter with the longer reach applies here for the coin. She is the betting favorite, even the Tapology favorite. So I guess I'll be going with that. The coin picked her, the site's picking her, and then the betting odds are picking her. It's a women's fight though, so I mean, you're just as lucky to do this, or just as likely to do that and get it right. To be fair, they're both mid MMA fighters. Both have about the same record. They both beat the same level of girls, honestly. It's just, I don't know. It's one of those things where, you know, you see that I don't know. This is a terrible fight. It's a women's fight. I don't want to watch it, but I'm kind of forced to by the UFC at this point. Anyways, I'm going to pick Blanchfield by decision. We'll go back over the picks. We've got Blanchfield by decision, Gamrot decision, Billy Ray Goff by TKO round 2. We've got Dustin Jacoby by KO, Macy Chasson by decision, Zach Reese by KO round 1, Philho by submission, Levitt by decision, Gustafson by round 2 KO, Balaji Oki, who Oki will still be on this card, but his opponent Markel Medeiros did fall off of the card, and Oki is going to be fighting a different opponent, and I'm going to be picking him by KO in round 1. I think it should be a fairly easy fight for him. I don't know the guy, but just gonna have to pick Balaji Oki at that point. And then Rayan dos Santos by decision. I'm gonna save my picks, and I guess we can move to my profile and then take a look at how we did on the last card that we had a couple weeks ago. The Burns versus Morales card. We went 9 out of 11 on the picks. We had Morales getting a KO. We had Marion Santos getting a decision. We had him getting KO, but we were wrong. Ruzaboyev, who we thought was going to finish Dustin Stolfitz. Stolfitz keeps tending to be a little tougher than I thought he is, but, could have been finished. Mikizel Costa getting a round 3 decision. Gabe Green submitting Camilo was one of the 2 fights I got wrong. Moises, the other fight I got wrong. Jared Gordon getting it done, knocking him out. Yider Devai. Impressive performance by him. Luana Santos had a good fight. Denise Gomes beat the ever-living shit out of Elise Reed. Yun Sung Park, really impressive flyweight. He's one of the guys to look out for at flyweight, I think. His combinations, hand speed, and grappling all looked really good. And he's not just one of these Asian guys who's going to come in and just look to grapple. He actually can hurt you on the feet. And then we had Tisha Pennington, or Tisha Torres, beating up Luana Pinheiro. Yeah. Overall, good card that week. It looks like this card could be pretty solid coming up. Like I said, none of the fights are too exciting, but we do have a solid card. And then we're going to have Balaji Oki fighting someone else. Anyways, like and subscribe. Toodle Pip, I'll see you later, I guess. Guess I'll take his outro. No, seriously, bye.